Dr. Sunil Dutt, and definitely to all the participants from different parts of the country. Yes, Sir told me that 23 of you have joined in from individually from different locations, and then there is this ABSC Institute, Sir said, from Ghaziabad, right? So I would really look up to, from wherever you've joined in, whether it is on part of your institution or individually you've joined in from different, locations, to make it a more participative and an interactive session, which actually is a major challenge when it comes to an online program, right? But then believe me, I mean, this is a personal request on behalf of a facilitator, because you would have also kind of experienced the same key when it is an online session and you see all windows closed, no videos on, and nobody responding. It gets a very, very tough task. Actually, sometimes it feels as if you're just talking to the screen only. So let's make it kind of an interactive experience for both the entities, both as the participants and definitely as the facilitator, right? So the more we would be in the discussion mode, I think more we will be able to extract something out of this workshop. Before I move on, this is something I really ensure, that what medium of language you will be comfortable in. Right. Of course, sir told me there's this Institute of Ghaziabad. I think Ghaziabad would, they would be kind of comfortable both in Hindi and English. But sometimes we have like individuals from, the southern part of the country. Then it is like that. Yes, Hindi becomes a constraint. So yes, what medium of language you would be comfortable with? Hindi, English, or we keep it Hinglish? Okay, Sumit sir says Hinglish, right? So पहले तो यही जानना चाहूंगी कि is there anybody who has a kind of a challenge with specifically Hindi, or maybe Hindi, right? Because sometimes, yes, as I said, like anybody who thinks that yes, they would not be able to kind of connect with Hindi. English is preferred. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Diwan. And yes, I would primarily keep it more English only,
Good
but
morning,
in
madam.
between,
Thank you.
very good morning, sir. Very good morning. But in case, I would primarily, sir, as you've requested, keep it in English only. But in case if there is anything which is not kind of, we are not able to connect with, or we are not able to understand, please, you are really, really more than welcome to kind of, stop me then and there. And then, yes, we can go on with the discussion further. Okay. In fact, what I realized is that this is a whole program about project management, and where you've been kind of dealing with different technical concepts of project management. In fact, there was something Dr. Sunil that mentioned defining checkpoints, right? Which is like kind of you get into the details, the intricacy of kind of planning, and then definitely implementing and executing a complete project. So from the scratch to the idea, basically the conceptualization of an idea to the implementation of the same, where you ensure that everything is in place and there are no kind of loopholes. But then when we operate with so much of clarity, we have so much of kind of everything jotted down on paper, and there is complete documentation about it. I don't believe that yes, there is any scope of our projects failing up, or maybe yes, not kind of not kind of reaching out to the end point, the end outcome, right? But then also we know that sometimes, in spite of all our planning, all our precautions and everything that we want to kind of ensure that there are no loopholes, there are no kind of um, uh, places where there is any scope of error or mistakes, but sometimes still we are not able to kind of reach up till the end, the final outcome of a project implementation. So can we kind of, first and foremost, before I start with any formal presentation, can we just little bit brainstorm and think about what are the reasons that, in spite of we being technically the most sound and proficient people, and kind of most kind of we've specifically ensured that yes, there is all kind of technical backing up, and all procedures are in place, but still many a times the projects are not able to reach up to the end outcome, the final outcome. So what are the reasons for it? What can be the reasons for it? Any one of you? Even with the ensuring 100% efficiency, complete, systems intact, we are still not able to reach out to the final outcome. Why does that happen? What can be the reasons? Poor time management. Great, thank you so much, Jeevan Jyoti ji. So definitely, I think, in spite of we, being the, in fact, when we measure effectiveness, it's all about time, right? I mean, even if you are the most experienced, the most capable people around, but if you're not achieving it in time, then definitely, it makes no sense. Specifically if the time has kind of passed away, or when it was in the kind of, it was required to be done at a specific stage, at a specific outcome. Yeah, so then there is no kind of outcome, when we are not able to achieve it in the time kind of which has been prescribed for it, right? So poor time management. Okay, any other reasons to it? Can we think about it? What are the, the reasons that, in spite of we being more technically, kind of sound and, proficient in all our techniques and management, but still many a times the projects do not reach up to the final outcome? What can be the reasons for it? One is poor time management. Any other reasons that we can think about? Due to errors. Okay. um, yeah, maybe something which we did not kind of, take care of, or we did not kind of look into it deeply. Lack of resources. Wonderful. Okay. um I'll just open this, in fact, simultaneously. Great. I'm getting a lot of responses, huh? Due to errors, lack of resources, time to time not inspected. Yes, in fact, it has to be really ensured, on a regular basis, that yes, how are the things moving on, and are they in kind of, alignment with the procedures or the techniques that have been, specified, right? And if it's not happening, then we need to rectify it, simultaneously. So time to time inspection and supervision is required. Similarly, as Basir ji says, it is sometimes due to lack of resources. Jeevan Jyoti ji says that yes, maybe we go wrong, right? Now, can we find some common factor amongst all these reasons that we've stated, whether it is poor time management, whether it is lack of resources, whether it is, we committing errors, or maybe yes, there is no proper supervision? So can we find some common aspect, some common parameter, that if that parameter is checked upon, then definitely I think we would even reduce upon these, reasons to kind of which lead to failure. We can be more
Coordination.
effective in our. Yes, yes, please.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am,
Very
coordination.
good. Coordination. Wonderful, Jeevan Jyoti ma'am. Coordination. So now, where do we need the coordination, ma'am?
uh,
Amongst whom?
among team,
Team.
whether
Very
core
true.
team
Yes,
and with the
exactly. The core
outsourced
team.
persons also.
Yes. And sorry, ma'am. Yes.
With outsourced persons also.
Outsource people also. In fact, all the people who are directly or indirectly kind of related to that project, right? So we need a good coordination between those people.
Coordination with IT team also.
IT team also. Exactly. In fact, that's what, like, I mean, those people who are technically and directly a part of that project, and definitely all those other, resources, which normally we call them human resources,
Yes.
who are, administratively, or who are beyond the technical capacity, they are supporting the project, right? So, yes, so people, basically, now that's one very very common aspect, when very common parameter. People. Who are the people involved in the project, right? When we talk about committing errors, then it is primarily the people who commit the errors, right? In fact, any project, any mission, any goal that we talk about, right, apart from all those technical resources and, kind of, our procedures laid down on documents, everything, eventually it is the people, the humans, who have to work upon it, right? So when we talk about, yes, committing errors, it is again, it goes back to that human factor, right? Resources, in fact, even before the technical resources, we have to really ensure who are the human resources, right? Which we ensure upon their technical ability, their expertise, their experience, right? And then there is a selection of that core team who would be working on a specific project, right? And then definitely, where it is, yes, as Sumit Kumar sir said, that maybe time to time it's not being inspected, again, that's a loophole, or that's a gap on the on the edge of the people, of the humans who are involved, and who's supervising, who's managing, who's kind of leading the project, right? So they have to ensure that, yes, everything is in place, right? So I think any project that we talk about, any goal or objective that has to be achieved, it is primarily about who are the people who are kind of involved into it. But then still, people, in spite of their technical proficiency, in spite of their um, uh, years of experience, and they being qualified and well versed with what has to be done, they commit errors, they are not able to coordinate amongst each other, right? Sometimes they don't feel the need only to work or perform. So what are the reasons? Why do such kind of hiccups or inhibitions develop amongst the people who are kind of managing, or who are kind of involved into a project? Why do people start kind of shirking their responsibilities? Why do they start committing errors more often? Why is it that people are not able to coordinate with each other? Why does that starts happening more often, in spite of they being well versed, technically capable, yes, the people with the maximum experience? Why is it that they start maybe, I mean, they might be the most skilled people around, but then they're not willing to perform? Why does that lack of willingness come up? Yes, Jeevan Jyoti ma'am, you wanted to say something?
It just because of the lack of interaction between these people, sometimes.
Right, right. So basically, there's a communication gap, right? So then there is lack of clarity, right? Who's expecting what? And then eventually, when there is lack of clarity, there is a communication gap. Then, as it is, people start feeling disinterested. They lose interest, and then, in spite
Or
of there being more, yes, ma'am, Hanji.
maybe some budget issue also.
Okay, we
Maybe.
are, yes, somehow we are ensuring that, yes, when it comes to all the materialistic and, other technical support, that is, all in place, right? With the best of the facilities, also people are not able to perform, or they're not able to give their best, because, yes, maybe there is lack of communication gap amongst the individuals, there is lack of clarity, what is to be done, how it is to be done, right? Sumit sir says that there is lack of knowledge, right? In fact, Sumit sir, that's what I'm saying, that knowledge, there is no deficiency of knowledge. In fact, the people who have been chosen for a specific project, we really believe, in fact, they've been selected on that criterion only, that yes, they are the most, experienced and technically sound people for a certain project that has to be allotted to them. But in spite of all their technical proficiency, their, knowledge, capability, they are still not able, they're still not willing to perform. Why does that happen? Of course, one reason Jeevan Jyoti ma'am gave, that yes, there is a lack of interaction, there is a communication gap amongst the people. Can there be any other reasons why people shirk their responsibilities, or in spite of their technical proficiency, they're not willing to perform?
And maybe it's a self decision. They don't want to
They don't
perform.
want to, yes, exactly, right. I think अगर मैं इसको हिंदी में कहना चाहूँ तो करवा के देख लो अगर करवा सकते हो, राइट? हमसे ज्यादा कोई अच्छा जानता नहीं है, लेकिन इस वक्त हमारा करने का, यस, मन नहीं है, राइट? सो वही बात है, दैट मेजर गैप बिटवीन स्किल एंड विल, right? I might be the most skilled person around, but I'm not willing to perform only. तो फिर मेरे उस स्किल का भी कोई फायदा नहीं है, राइट? मेरी नॉलेज से भी कुछ कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ने वाला. इट्स नॉट गोना क्रिएट एनी डिफरेंस, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट रेडी टू परफॉर्म ओनली, आई एम नॉट विलिंग टू, यस, कंट्रीब्यूट ओनली, right? Then my knowledge, my experience, my qualification, everything stays aside, right? So I think now let's start reflecting on this thought: ki what comes first? Is it the skill or is it the will? Will is that willingness, इच्छा, कुछ करने की, कुछ सीखने की, कुछ लोगों के साथ जुड़ने की, लोगों का साथ लेने की, लोगों का साथ देने की. So what is more important, the skill or the will, or what should be first taken into consideration? In fact, even
Willing,
when we
ma'am.
are will, yes, thank you so much, Dr. Rusha. It is will, right? Specifically, when we are selecting a certain group of people for a technical project or a technical assignment, apart from their technical proficiency, we really, really have to ensure that they are the ones who are willing to perform. Right. And now this becomes one of the major reasons for, mega projects with huge budgets and huge kind of expenses being incurred on it, and with the best of the facility and infrastructure available, the projects still do not kind of reach to the final outcome, because people are not willing to perform, they're not willing to collaborate, they're not willing to contribute, they're not willing to communicate, right? So in spite of everything being in place, just because of that lack of willingness, nothing moves forward, right? So now I would, yes, run through some of my slides, and then we'll discuss more about, yes, that why does that willingness not come into the foreplay, or why is it that people run short of their willingness in spite of rest everything kind of being a supporting factor. Okay, so I think my presentation is visible. Yes, Usha ma'am, or
Yes,
maybe
ma'am.
Jyoti ma'am. Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Because when I open up my slides and I get disconnected from the other screen. So the four P's of performance, right? We can call it, project performance. We can call it individual performance. We can call it team performance, right? Any way, but basically where we are looking up to something happening and something reaching out to the final outcome, right? So now what are those four P's? Where it is primarily the priorities, right? Now what is that, what matters the most, right? What is it that has to be achieved first and foremost, right? What is it that where I have to align my efforts or my time in which direction, and where is it that I can kind of push on the things on a back front and take up certain tasks on a priority basis. So that's basically prioritizing, where I know when to say yes and when to say no, right? That's how we prioritize. In fact, whenever we say maybe, or maybe, or maybe yes, maybe I do not know, right? Wherever this term maybe comes, then there is lack of clarity, and then it gets more difficult to actually prioritize. So when we talk about prioritizing, it has to be a clear yes or a clear no. Whenever, even if it is in a thought, even before you speak up also, right? When you're just thinking about that, whether a task should be taken up or not, whether this much of risk should be taken up or not, when you have that doubt, right, then it gets all the more difficult to actually prioritize. So prioritizing means clarity of thought, right? A complete yes or a complete no, right? Now we just, as the few questions that we addressed and you all responded to it, that yes, in spite of the complete planning and holistic kind of ensuring that yes, there is complete effectiveness, all availability of resources, financial support, everything is in place. But what matters the most is that who are the people who are going to perform the task, right? So eventually everything revolves around the people, right? And then are those people aligned with the goals or the objectives to which they have to kind of further align their efforts and energy, right? If the people themselves do not have a clarity, or they themselves are not willing to kind of find a connect with the goal, then they would never be able to kind of reach to the final outcome. Now, processes. Majority of the times when we design our processes, we would ensure, the goal, the objective, that maybe yes, it is what AICTE accreditation, right? So we all understand that yes, for a technical institute, if we have to work upon the AICTE accreditation, we have to, follow certain processes. We have to kind of fulfill, that complete documentation, and all those, eligibility criterias need to be kind of fulfilled. Otherwise, yes, that accreditation is not possible. So everything which, we kind of understand that yes, this is the technical requirement, this is the standard to be met. But eventually what we most of the times tend to forget is that who are the people who are gonna perform these processes, right? We It is very, very simple. It is very, very kind of, I would say, unjustified to put anything on paper without realizing that yes, I mean, eventually, if a process is designed or it has been framed, we have to really see to it that who are the people who have to be, who would be kind of the stakeholders to a certain process, and who would actually have to take up that process further, right? Now, next terminology is practices, and many a times we get kind of confused between processes and practices. Can we first and foremost, find this difference? What do we mean by practices, and what do we understand by processes? What is the difference between the two terminologies, which is majority of the times kind of confused, or we consider them to be synonym terms only, but then there's a difference. Practices and processes. Any one of you, in layman's language, I mean, in fact, as it is, I am the the non-technical person around, right? So as it is, I'm not looking to any technical deficiency, technical, sorry, definitions, right? So what do we understand the difference in layman's language, difference between a process and a practice? Yes, Jeevan Jyoti ma'am.
Practice is the implementation of the process. That is a practice, and process is a method. I
Is
mean,
the
it's a
method.
method.
Yes, exactly. So basically, the set rules, the set norms, which are kind of put up on, maybe on a paper, or maybe, which is put explained to the people around who have to kind of execute a process, right? That is basically the process description, right? But eventually, when that process is brought into action, when we practically apply the rules, the norms, or the standards which have been set for a certain process, then it is known as practice, right? And again, yes, eventually the ones who are laying down the processes also are the humans, are the people around, and the ones who have to execute the process, that is which who have to get them into practice, are also the humans. So do we think there has to be some kind of connection between the people who are designing the processes and the people who have to, practice upon those processes? Majority of the times there is a difference. Somebody else will design a process and somebody else will execute the process, or will actually practice the process. So do we think there has to be some kind of a coordination, some sort of understanding, mutual understanding, between the people who are designing the processes and the people who have to practice those processes? Anyone, please? Or it's okay that yes, somebody at a, a management level, or somebody at a, a quality department, working, and then they, yes, set the norms, they design the process, and eventually it is the, the people at the, maybe the execution level, or at the supervisory level, right? They are the ones who are executing the process, and they don't have any sort of, kind of initial discussion or initial understanding that
Ma'am,
what is the process. Yes,
ma'am,
please. Yes, Dr. Usha. Yes, ma'am.
administration is fixing the goal, ma'am, and the management team works to execute that goal.
Okay. Right. So, ma'am, is there some coordination, some sort of, yes, this mutual discussion or initial discussion that, the ones who are the process designers and the ones who have to execute the process, is there some sort of, kind of communication between the management and the administration?
Administration is fixing the goals, ma'am,
Okay.
and
So
the
they yeah,
management team, under
yes.
the team members, they have to implement and achieve the goals.
Yeah, that okay, we understood that the administration would kind of set certain goals and they'll design the processes, and eventually it is the management team who has to take up those goals, who
Yes,
have to
ma'am.
reach to the final outcome. But then when these processes are being designed, is there initial some involvement or some engagement of the management team who have to practice that process? Are they involved in the process designing stage also, or
Yes,
they are
ma'am. They
only
can get the views of their management team, ma'am.
they
Before
okay,
fixing
that
the
happens.
goal, they have to
Yes,
discuss with them.
true. So you think, ma'am, that happens, especially does that happen in your institute?
Yes, ma'am. They can get views, ma'am.
Okay, so they do that, right? We I mean, somewhere, yes, we believe that, yes, at least in your institute, before they kind of set a goal or they design a process, they would seek the kind of the suggestions, or the there'll be some initial discussion between the ones who have to execute the process and the ones who are designing the process, right? So Sumit sir, you've written regular practices to achieve the final outcome, right? So I think that's the process, right, where you're defining this by this definition. But then definitely right now, my question was that, yes, should the people be involved? Should there be some coordination between the ones who have to execute the process and the ones who are designing the process? And of course, Jeevan Jyoti ma'am has written, yes, their coordination is required, and even in the documentation process also, right? Specifically, when you are laying down the procedure on the paper, right? That this is the standard norms, these are the set procedures, these are the set guidelines to do it. So that time, definitely we have to have it in our mind, in our thought process, that who are the people who are going to perform it. It can never be generic. It can never be, yes, anything which is just for the sake of kind of customizing a thing, but we don't even know that who are the ones who are going to perform it. So I think when we have this approach in mind, that who will be the people who will be executing this process, who will bring this procedure into practice, do you think that will ensure a little more better effectiveness of the project to be achieved, when we beforehand only have thought about that who are the people who are going to practice that procedure which is being laid down on paper? Will that make the procedure or the process or the project a little more effective to be achieved? Yes, I hope my question is clear. When we are laying down our procedures, at that stage, when we know that, yes, we are laying down these procedures for whom, who are the people who are going to be performing it, right? Then do you think there'll be a little, more effective? Is that a little more effective approach to kind of, yes, designing a process and leading it to the final outcome?
Um, for example, in architecture profession,
Yes, ma'am.
architects,
Yes, ma'am.
because outcome comes on a site,
True,
like
true. True. So we have to really ensure that who will be the architects, what is gonna be their area of expertise, right?
construction
And who
industry.
is, yes, which industry, ma'am?
Construction,
Edu-
and even in
Constru-
market industry also, when they are launching some product, and what are the outcomes that comes from the market itself,
right,
from
right,
their quality
definitely.
and then all.
Definitely. Thank you so much, even ma'am. There were some real good examples, but can we think of a similar situation even in the education sector as well, even in
Teachers,
our technical institutes also?
like teachers, we are the site,
Teachers,
yes,
yes,
because
yes,
outcome
exactly.
comes from our input.
Exactly. So we have to be really, really, sure about, or we have to have a very strong
Academic,
clarity.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, who will be those teachers? Who will be those, academicians? And yes, will they actually be able to achieve that procedure in practice, in reality, right? Now, majority of the times when we design our procedures, or when we, get into the process of documentation, or setting standards for a certain system, or for a certain, project to be achieved, uh, it's majority of the times goal oriented, right? That this is the goal which has to be achieved. That of course, if we reach the, if we get the AICT accreditation, then definitely, we can upgrade our institute from a college level to a university level. So that's how we look at things, right? But then, apart from the goals, do we think we have to have a people orientation approach also while designing our projects or procedures? Should there be some people, orientation approach also in designing of our projects? Will that make a difference?
Yes, ma'am, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Because the role of
Okay.
people is very
Yes.
important in.
It is very, very important. Eventually, it is the people who have to work upon it. They are the ones who have to, yes, actually get into practice, and ensure that yes, whatever the procedures have been laid down, they are able to, kind of reach out to the final outcome. But yes, I think here remains the missing link, where we are not, considering our people. It is just for the sake of, yes, fulfilling those technical, requirements, or maybe the, the management aspects, yes. And in that process, maybe, yes, there develops this gap, that yes, people who have to work upon it, themselves are only not familiar that how to go about it, and what is the, the standard operating procedure to reach out to the final outcome. Okay. So then, anything else needs to, okay, maybe I'll move to the next slide. I mean, how to then, yes, ensure that yes, people who are involved into it, they are also an equally part of the project designing and the final implementation. um, Yes. Okay, I think now my slide is again visible, right? Where it says that people need to be inspired, involved, and influenced, right? Specifically, there has to be a very, very strong and a very, very crucial involvement of people at the designing stage, right? I mean, in fact, from the very scratch, right? When it's just, kind of a concept, an idea that, okay, this kind of a project needs to be initiated. Maybe we are looking up to setting up an incubation center, or maybe kind of, provision of mentoring facilities for the students to promote entrepreneurship, right? So just an idea which clicks. Then again, yes, okay, let me give you an example. The same idea only, that yes, we are planning to kind of come up with mentoring facilities, right? Mentoring, yeah, of course, facilities for our students who are kind of willing to, or maybe instill the spirit of entrepreneurship amongst the students, which is just an idea. So who all people should be involved in the further implementation of this idea, or maybe at the planning stage only? The idea is that yes, let's, kind of start these mentoring facilities for students to come up with entrepreneurship. So if we have to conceptualize this idea, or maybe, kind of lay out a roadmap to it, who all people should be involved into it? Mentoring facilities for the students.
Experts and
Okay.
the authority who are providing such facility to the university
Okay.
or the college,
Okay.
and they are
Wonderful.
providing a specific department for the career and student mentoring, and they
Right.
are designing
Right.
whole program for the students as per the division of the
Mm-hmm.
juniors and the seniors, like how to mentor them.
Definitely.
Different
So
program.
Yes, yes. So it's like we designed a certain department who will be completely responsible for this mentoring facility for the students, right? So then there'll be authorities from the management, there'll be authorities from the guidance and counseling cell. Anybody else who needs to be included in designing or apart from conceptualizing, planning this, complete project of developing mentoring facilities for the students to inculcate entrepreneurship. Anybody else who needs to be involved into it apart from the management, the guidance and counseling cell,
Ma'am, education
experts,
department also. Like,
education department. Okay,
like the
can we think of
council of
anybody?
architecture or the council of the, like, uh, those who are giving these
G.
accreditations and all, they are setting such rules, like the
Right,
management.
ma'am.
There are so many
Right.
government education system who launches such schemes to every education
True.
institute.
True. True, exactly. So yes, there are a lot of startup schemes, so we have to get into kind of collaboration with the government also, so that we are able to kind of, develop that facility also. But again, my focus is primarily on the people. So are there any other group of people who need to be involved into it? Experts, the government sector, the management authorities, the guidance counseling cell, the education department, anybody else? So we've completed all the entities who are involved into it, all the stakeholders who are involved into this decision. Can you think of any other stakeholder who will be impacted by this decision, mentoring facilities for the students? Uh, okay, Sumit sir, Dr. Rusha, or even Dr. Divan. I mean, yes, because we've just had a little. And can we please really think of somebody else, any other entity, any other stakeholder who would be impacted by this decision? It is going to be a mentoring facility for these students to start to come up with entrepreneurship or develop the skills of entrepreneurship. So I think first and foremost we really need to reflect that the prime stakeholder to this project are the students, and students only if they are not involved in the planning process, do we think they would ever feel the connect, or they would ever feel the need of kind of seeking such mentoring facilities? If students are not involved in the process of planning or the laying down the procedure, that what kind of um mentors are need to be invited and what kind of facility needs to be developed, while they are the prime beneficiaries of this whole project, do we think they would ever be able to avail the benefits of this complete project? Please, I hope my questions are clear and I hope you're all connected there. Now, that's a very, very important question. And if we've not answered this, I think, we will not be able to connect to the whole purpose of this session this morning. Ma'am, Jeevan Jyoti ma'am, I said that we are designing a project on provision of mentoring facilities for the students to, inculcate entrepreneurship. Now, for the as you said, in fact, while we are the people who have to be involved in the decision making or the planning or kind of laying down the procedure have to be the education department, the guidance and counseling cell, the experts, the government, all people, right? But now I'm asking that if the students themselves, who are going to be the prime beneficiaries to this whole project, if they are not involved in the planning or the implementation process of it, right, will they ever feel the need of actually availing this facility? Would
Ma'am,
they
the team
ever?
leader must be there, no, ma'am? One of the
Team leader,
person
team.
is the team leader. On behalf of all the students, one person may represent, no, ma'am.
Okay, so student
We have to get
representative. That's
opinion
what,
from
ma'am.
them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I was, looking up to, ma'am. So basically, we have to have some student representatives, right? I think if we are not including those student representatives in our planning procedure, in our discussions to kind of initiate such a project, or how to go about, how to lay down the roadmap to such a project, I can firmly assure you the students would never feel the need of kind of availing this kind of facility, even though we know we have hundreds of reasons to kind of explain them that why this project is important for them, why they have to kind of seek mentoring, why it is important to instill those skills of entrepreneurship. But if they have not been involved in the initial discussions, in the initial planning, they would always feel a very, very strong disconnect. And this is what happens majority of the times. Now let me give it back to all of you right now. So many of you joined for this workshop, right? And majority of you joined from your independent locations, apart from one remote center from where 27 of the other teachers have joined in. I don't know how many of you have kind of enrolled yourself or registered yourself for this workshop with your own willingness, and how many of you, your names have been just sent by your respective institutes? Can I get some responses? How many of you registered for this workshop with your own, personal choice, with your own willingness?
Our own willingness only we have joined, ma'am. Already I
Okay.
have attended Sunil sir session, ma'am. I
Okay.
have received
Okay.
certificate
Okay.
also.
Okay.
It's
Great. Great.
conducted well, ma'am. This is a third
Wonderful,
program
doctor.
for NITTT at Chandigarh.
Oh, great. Wonderful, Dr. Rusha. So that means there is something which actually, kind of inspires you to come back to such kind of workshops time and again.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And yes, as you said, you've joined in with your own willingness. So can you think of some difference, that what if you were sent on forcefully or compulsively on behalf of your institute, and you yourself were not willing to be a part of this workshop? Will your kind of the amount of learning or development from the workshop would have differed in that case, if you were compulsively sent by your institute, and here when you've come by your own choice, by your own willingness? So will that make a difference in your willingness to learn, or yes, maybe kind of develop from this workshop?
This is benefit for both the sides, ma'am. As a person, as a faculty, I can show. As the
Yes.
institute level, they can show in the
True.
NIRF ranking,
True.
whatever the thing for
True.
accreditation purpose. The
True.
courses
True.
are attended by the faculty members.
Right.
Both the
Right.
sides are
So
benefited, no, ma'am.
both this, but then what I'm trying to say is that your willingness, where you're personally willing to be a part of this workshop, and it's not just that you've been sent compulsively by this institute, so that
But
willingness
if
has
they are
added more.
compulsory
Yes.
also, we have to do, ma'am. If you're
Yeah.
willing to do, we can learn.
Yes.
Otherwise, you be simply
Yeah.
quiet.
Exactly, that's what when you're willing to learn, you would always be more kind of inspired to learn, right? You would be more inquisitive to learn, you would more look forward to ask, to connect, to correlate, right? But sometimes we do so many things just under compulsion, just because yes, there is no other choice, there is no other alternative. And in that whole process, even if we are doing something, even if we are part of a project, even if we are part of a learning platform, there will be we would personally not be benefiting much out of it. That's what I primarily wanted to get your focus upon. And of course, Jeevan Jyoti ma'am has also mentioned that it makes a lot of difference. Jeevan Jyoti ma'am, can you unmute yourself and let us know what difference? Yes.
And when our institute forcefully saying ki, like you need to attend such workshop and such everything, and
True.
it's
True.
such a vague experience, so people don't.
Yes.
So when we are
Exactly.
attending with our own interest, so it will be beneficial for us in process of
Definitely.
learning,
Definitely.
and we can learn new things. Like from
Perfect.
this FTP, it's quite
True.
informative and a lot of learning outcomes. that we learn.
Wonderful, wonderful, great. Thank you so much, even Jyoti ma'am and Dr. Rusha. Definitely, when it's with our own willingness, with our own, choice, then definitely we feel the need to know more. We feel the need to question more. We feel the no need to kind of, attain more clarity. And then there is definitely kind of lack of all those, flaws or inhibitions which we had jotted down earlier. There is less scope of committing errors. There is less scope of we not utilizing our time. There is less scope of, yes, we not checking our performance or the learning from it. So definitely we become much more effective. We are much more. And then when we are willing, then the best thing that happens is we become responsible. And this is a special kind of responsible. Can we add one adjective to it? What kind of responsible we become when we are willing to, yes, learn or do something by our own choice? What kind of responsible do we become?
Social responsibility.
Okay, social responsible. Okay, great, sir. Even before social responsible, sir, even before we start looking up to ki, yes, I need to, look around who are the people, and yes, I need to contribute. But then what first, how does first it impacts me? In fact, Dr. Usha said something that, yes, when I am willing, then definitely I would learn more, right? So I take the responsibility for my own learning. So when I am taking the responsibility, I'm personally, yes, owning the responsibility, I become which
Self-responsibility.
self-responsible. Thank you so much, Dr. Diwan. I become self-responsible, right?
Thank you.
And then I
Thank you.
myself ensure that, yes, there should be no errors, there should be no wastage of time, there should be no lack of communication, there should be no lack of coordination. Whatever reasons that we had discussed initially at the start of the workshop, that why most of the projects do not reach to the final outcome, or why is it that, yes, some sort of failure props in spite of the best of the facility, best of the technical proficiency. It is because people don't hold the self responsibility. They always feel that, yes, I'm doing it for the sake of my institute, I'm doing it for the sake of, my management, or maybe I'm doing it for the sake of somebody else. But until unless I don't feel that I'm doing it for myself or my own growth, like Dr. Rusha said, that when I come for such FDPs, there's a double benefit. First of all, I benefit, I progress, I grow, and then whatever is my, added on area of knowledge, awareness, information, then my institute also benefits out of it, because I'm able to deliver more quality, I'm able to do things more effectively, right? Okay, now, why do people don't get self responsible? Why do people don't, what do you say, feel the need, or are they not willingness? Because they've still not, got the complete freedom, which is normally, we consider it freedom of choice, freedom of, operating your, ways of doing things. Then even beyond that, right, even if we are kind of working in a restricted environment, even if we have a lot of, kind of governance, or we have a lot of rules and, set procedures to follow, but I think if we are able to achieve this freedom, then everything gets, simplified. Now, first and foremost is that whatever you're doing, whichever project, whichever learning, whichever, task or goal that you've taken up, you need to enjoy it. You need to have fun in it. You have to, somewhere feel that, I mean, fun is basically, you need to have that feel good factor, right? Now, how many of you, being a part of this FDP, you think you are enjoying this FDP? How many of you think you are enjoying this FDP? Okay, great. I think in this there should be no doubts. Now this is
Yes,
like
ma'am.
prioritizing. Yeah, okay. Dr. Rusha is also enjoying. Yes. Anybody else who's enjoying? If you're not putting your responses, that means you're not enjoying. Uh, yeah, sir said how many? 50 faculty members, and I got only two responses as that. Yes, you're enjoying. If you're not enjoying, do you think you'll be able to ever learn anything? Will you'll be able to benefit anything? If you're doing everything just for the sake of doing it, and with all that, um, uh, being troubled about it, not feeling good about it, will you ever be able to kind of take something, kind of benefit something out of it? Now, that's actually a big question, not to the NITTR facility, not to the your respective institute. That is to yourself. If you're not enjoying it, if you're not liking it, are you doing justice to yourself? Anything that you're doing, are you doing justice to yourself? Okay, I can really, that acute silence gives a lot of response. So I think first and foremost thing that you can do to at least, break that monotony, break that, um, you know, uh, feeling that, yes, I am not liking it, is at least start participating. Believe me, when we start participating, when we start interacting, when we start, sharing thoughts and viewpoints, then at least we feel involved, we feel kind of somewhere connected. But this way, right, where majority of us, we have our, videos off, we have our, we're not responding. I mean, in fact, it's very difficult to kind of even, understand that, is it that you've just logged in and you've gone somewhere, right? Which majority of the times your students do so, right? So now, very frankly, even if it is out of compulsion that you've logged in, because your institute wanted you to do this kind of FTP, but you have to somewhere understand that it is primarily your time and energy which is being invested into it. Even if it is on your behalf of your institute, anything that you're doing, even if it is out of compulsion, even if it is not with your choice, but you have to always remember that it is your time and energy which is being invested in it. And if you are not taking care of your time and energy, where is it going? Is it, yes, you are kind of not feeling good about it, or you yourself are feeling, negative about it, then definitely it is gonna first and foremost damage you. Do all the wrong things to you only. You only are gonna feel, bad about it, and eventually you would feel that, yes, my whole time got wasted. And definitely your energy levels would also be lowered down. So please don't do that injustice to yourself, right? If you've come in, if you've logged in, if you've become, if you think that, yes, you've become a part of an FTP, so at least, yes, get into that interactive mode, share more, or maybe ask more, right? If you don't like, I mean, if you're not convinced about some point of view, or maybe there is that you need more clarity, then when we start questioning, then also, yes, we somewhere are able to get involved, and yes, at least show our presence or participate, right? But then please don't do this injustice to yourself, that, yes, you're doing something, and yes, you're not kind of yourself feeling good about it. Okay, so that's the fun element, where you have to feel good, you have to enjoy whatever you're doing, right? And we need to really remember that majority of the times life does not offer us, what we want to do. So the best is whatever, comes your way. I mean, if you think it is, yes, a compulsion, it's a need, then better start enjoying what you're doing. Next is that, yes, are you talented? Now, talented for the task, the responsibility, or the mission or purpose for which you have been chosen. Talent, which is all about your skills, knowledge, expertise, right? So, are you the right person, who has been given a certain task? Or sometimes, that's why I think we must have heard this statement many a times: right person at the right job, right? So where it means the right person means that, yes, that person is capable, is, knowledgeable, is experienced to perform that task or goal or objective, right? Now my next question will be, how many of you feel that, yes, whatever task, whatever, role or responsibility that you've taken in your respective institute, you are the right person for it? Whatever responsibility, task, goal, or objective that for which, you've been chosen in your respective institute, you think you're the right person for it? That means you are actually the person who's skilled, capable, experienced for that, at least for that area of responsibility which has been allotted to you. Again, it's only Jeevan Jyoti ma'am. Anybody else? Okay, Kavita ma'am. Oh, great, wonderful. I got a new response also. Thank you so much, Kavita ma'am. Anybody else? I mean, now again, that's a question on your, that's a doubt on your capability. That means, at least for the area of responsibility that has been given to you, you think that you don't fit into it. You are not the right person for it. Yes. Can I get some other responses? Do you think whatever you're doing at, I mean, whatever area of responsibility that you've been allotted, whatever goals and objectives that you're catering to, are you the right person? Are you the capable person to perform those? Whoops. Now, I don't know whether it is like we are still doubtful, we have a confusion, or we have a complete reluctance. नहीं भैया मुझे participate ही नहीं करना है, मुझे कुछ नहीं लिखना है, right? So then, as it is, nobody can, make you do anything. Yes. Okay. Dr. Rusha also feels that yes, she is capable. She is worthy of what she's doing, right? Okay. Kavita ma'am says, even I lack certain skills. I do learn and acquire it, ma'am. Wonderful, ma'am. That's the spirit. That is the way it should be, right? And Dr. Puneet says, again, he agrees to yes, that he is the one who is qualified, capable, and yes, he is the right person to whatever task or
And
area of
sometimes you
responsibility
are
that
trying
has he
new
has been.
experimental task.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So does that actually benefit you in any way, ma'am, when you're trying to do something new which you've not done before?
Um,
Yes.
yes, will take help from
Yeah.
the seniors
Huh.
and from the
Yeah.
other team, and
Right. Right. So,
because it's
so
a
at least you.
responsibility,
Mhm.
we need to complete that task on time. So
Yeah.
need help.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. Now, what is that feeling when you actually try to do something new, right? And in which you have to actually even seek the support of your seniors, and then there is a certain time limit also to it, right? There's a deadline that needs to be achieved. But the best part is when you do it, when you're able to accomplish it. How does it make you feel?
It makes like we feel so much confident. But
Okay.
when
Yes.
we getting some new task, first reaction sometimes irritate also. But
Yeah.
it
So
will
true.
settle
So
down.
true.
It will settle
Yes.
down
Yeah.
because
Right.
we have to do. We can't do
Right.
anything. So
True.
करना ही
True.
पड़ता है. So
करना ही पड़ता
from
है.
the other team.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, I would
That's
like
so.
to share a few things.
Yes. Yes. Please, Kavita ma'am, and thank you so much, ma'am,
Yes,
for putting on your video. And it's so nice to connect with you. That ways. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
thank you, thank you. You always see the new task as an opportunity, ma'am.
True.
So I take it as an opportunity, and I learn. Even if I don't know anything on that, I do learn things, and I try to accomplish it with to the level best. So
Wow.
I
That's
see I see the new things as an opportunity. So that will
as
help.
an op.
So the past things always I get bored. So I go for hunting new opportunities. So that way I take it up as an
Wow. So
important
you're
step.
actually, yeah. So you're actually somebody more daring, or maybe more adventurous, I would say.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It keeps
Wonderful.
us on pace if we go for hunting new things.
True.
So that
True.
is always
True.
will help
True.
us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it gives you that high in life, right? Majority of the times when we start feeling discontented, or we start feeling monotonous at our work, it is primarily because we are repeating the same tasks, right? And then we start missing that high in life, that what next, what is it that beyond this I can do
Exactly.
something. But then, even though we want to do something new, but majority of the times we don't want to do it. We just feel the need of it, but we don't want to plunge ourselves into it. Why does that happen? Where does that gap prevail? We all want to change, but when it is that we have to put ourselves into that change, we are really reluctant about it. Where does the gap prevail?
I would say that it is the interest that we have. And
Right.
we should not get means we should not be satisfied with the activities we do currently. So
Right.
the future, like we have to sustain in this advancing world, so we need to learn
True.
more things which will make us be comfortable, also competitive into to survive in
True.
this world.
True. So true, ma'am. In fact,
Yes.
that's the sign of progression, right? I mean,
Yes.
the more we are learning new, the more we are, in fact, kind of developing upon our new abilities and new tasks. But yes, sometimes we still miss out upon, actually, doing something new or making, maybe taking up a new task or responsibility, because what surrounds us or what kind of restricts us very, very strongly is our comfort zone.
Yes, ma'am. And also
Yeah, yeah.
we will be making a big difference among others if we are
Yes,
like that.
yes, exactly. Very true, ma'am. But then, actually, what we need individually to actually kind of push ourselves further is that actually again that willpower.
Yes. Yes.
Today I would be kind of time and again revolving around this word only, willingness, that that willpower, which in fact, when we talk about people who break records, or who set their own targets, right? It is primarily their willpower which works. Majority of the times it's not that, yes, they are the ones who are really proficient or who are really capable. It is just that they were willing, they kind of themselves, they gave a challenge to their ability, and they said that what is it next that I can do. And that is where it's actually the willpower comes into the play, right? When you're not kind of take a pause, you're not kind of limiting yourself to what you can do today. You want to definitely grow more, you want to take up more challenges, or in fact you want to actually test your abilities, right? Okay, this much I know, this is my capacity, maybe I have done so many projects in the past, but now I need to come up with a patent of my own, right? So this is every time where I am kind of seeing myself that what next, I mean, where is that I see myself growing now, right? So yes, in fact, that's what that your capability, your skill set, which we are the best judge to it, even before anybody else tells us that, yes, this is what I believe you should do, or this is what I want to give you the responsibility. You yourself should feel that, yes, uh, maybe yes, in fact that's also confidence, and in fact it also comes with that special breed of confidence which is known as self confidence, right? Many a times we only feel confident when somebody else tells us that, okay, you're worthy of doing this, you're capable of doing this, right? Then we start believing in ourselves. Yes, yes, somebody appreciated me, somebody complimented me, or somebody certified me. Then I start believing in my competency or capability. But I think something which stays most strongly or inherently, like in within you, is your self confidence. Going back to the last aspect of that freedom, one was that, yes, you need to really, really enjoy what you're doing. Next is that you have to be capable of the task or the responsibility that has been allotted to you, or that you've taken up or you've chosen for yourself. Lastly is the demand for it, right? I mean, basically creating that kind of a need or a necessity, that where people feel that, yes, whatever task or responsibility that you are doing, right, there is a need for it. There is actually it's something very crucial and cannot be kind of avoided, or it cannot be kind of ignored, right? So when you feel that, yes, now any one of you, can you think about it, that yes, whatever area of responsibility that you're handling, more you would be able to justify that, yes, there is a dire need for it. I mean, yes, there is, there are more students who need to benefit out of it, or maybe, yes, the kind of subjects that you're handling, or maybe that specific technical domain that you're catering to. Yes, do you think there is much more need for it? We need to develop more students, we need to develop more technical know-how, right? Because I mean, how do we kind of reach out to this conclusion that there is more need for a certain technical proficiency or for an area of expertise? How do we kind of evaluate that what is the need, or how much is the need when it is already available in abundance, or when there is a scarcity? Where is the need more, where there is abundance of that certain skill knowledge, or where there is a scarcity of the knowledge aspect? Yes, Kavita ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I would like to say in this regarding,
Sure, sure.
like,
Yes.
we right now as a faculty, we are we have the knowledge, we have the experience, everything is there. But are we running the race with the students? Is again. We have to think on which will run again for acquiring the skills, so that we will deliver it in an effective way. The students will get those skills and also will run the race for the future. So I would say, like,
Okay.
the students are, the knowledge and all those things are available for the students to learn from the various sources. It
True,
is
true.
what needed is that we need to nurture them according to the future and provide
Right.
them with the skill set which could help them for their career as well as for the nation. So for that,
Yes,
we need to get the
yes.
thing first. So we have to
Exactly,
acquire
exactly.
it first, and then
True,
we'll
true.
be in a position to deliver it to them. So
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Kavita. In fact, that
yes, ma'am.
really, really is something very, I would say, significant that you've said, right? That when it comes to knowledge, knowledge is actually available in abundance today, right? There are
Yes,
so many surplus resources of knowledge available. Then, in that aspect, why do we need a teacher? The
yes,
demand for a teacher, right? Where teacher is not just kind of there to cater to the academic requirements, to fulfill the academic requirements, or to just kind of accomplish the syllabus, right? We are primarily there to nurture the talent, to kind
yes,
of give that platform to our students to think on their own, in their own unique ways, right? In fact, to kind of, I would say, to instill that creative intelligence aspect of our students, where each student is different, each student has a different way of looking at things, and we have to ensure that everyone comes up with their own unique ways of, yes, kind of grasping knowledge and further spreading that knowledge, right? So Jeevan Jyoti ma'am, you mentioned something like gathering and sharing. uh, is that knowledge and skills that you meant to say?
Ma'am, from knowledge will improve our skills. So it's
Right.
both are connected.
True,
So
true.
after that, we'll share with our students also. And
Right, right,
uh,
right.
so sometimes abundance of knowledge, we need to focus on specific also.
Yes, exactly. So we have to align the thoughts,
Align the
right? We
thought.
have to align the efforts and the way of looking at things. Because yes, in fact, today there is abundance. That is what
Yes,
Dr.
ma'am. It
Kavita
will get
also said.
overlap. It will get
G, G.
overlap in our mind.
Exactly. And in fact, then only we become specialized. If we're
Yes,
trying to do everything, right, then it is like, jack of all trades and master of none. But then we have to be more specific. We have to be more
ma'am.
streamlined towards our efforts. And yeah.
Three months.
Kavita ma'am also says faculty should effectively play the role of facilitator and enabler. So true, ma'am. I wholeheartedly agree to what you're saying, that yes, we have to primarily kind of fit into the roles of being a facilitator, being a mentor, being a actually somebody who's there as a motivator, right? Somebody to encourage, somebody to kind of, yes, make them feel, make them believe in their own capacity, then their own capability. Now this is what is a major missing link, right? So I think, yes, now coming back to that freedom, which is freedom for a teacher right now in your role I'm talking about, You really need to, as a teacher, as an individual, you have to first and foremost enjoy what you're doing. In fact, there's a big question about this as well. Teacher by choice or teacher by chance? Teacher by choice or teacher by chance? How many of you think you're a teacher by choice? Yeah. I think these are those heavy questions which sometimes get very difficult to kind of answer back also, right? But now the concern is that you've actually taken up a very, very crucial responsibility. Being a teacher actually means that you are somebody who's holding the responsibility of shaping up, new lives, right? Ensuring or maybe securing futures ahead, right? So first and foremost, you have to be really, really, yes, sure of your capability, your decisions, your area of expertise, or your comfort levels. If you yourself are not feeling good about what you're doing, right, you would never be able to do that justice to the people around. In fact, that's what Dr. Divan said, socially responsible. But then I believe even before becoming socially responsible, we have to primarily become self responsible, right? If you somewhere feel, in fact, that's what Jeevan Jyoti ma'am also said, that many times when we take up new tasks, we feel that we are running short of skills and expertise. And that is the time when we look up to maybe our seniors or maybe more experienced academicians around, seeking that help, seeking that support, so that we are able to kind of enhance our proficient proficiency, or maybe our technical capacity, so that yes, first, where we feel that yes, we are now being able to do the justice to the area of responsibility that we've taken up, and then definitely kind of shape and nurture more lives ahead. And that is what is the prime role of a teacher in today's scenario. Because when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to skill set, when it comes to information, that is available in abundance, in surplus, right? But then where is it that I mean, still students need to come to a college, to an institute in physical mode. Why do they need to attend classes? Why do they need to interact with a teacher? We have to be very, very specific, and we have to really look into it deeply, that why is a teacher required, right? Or maybe, yes, apart from that, what are those extra responsibilities that we need to take up, and what is going to be the final outcome of it. So when we have this clarity of whys, why am I into this role? Why am I taking up this extra responsibility? Why I need to be responsible towards my, not only my students, but towards my management also. When we have a more answer to these why, I think definitely much more, having a stronger clarity. Really sorry. I apologize that I lost my connect, but I think now I'm back with the session again, right? Okay, now I think I believe you must have really, really been able to understand or correlate with the concept of freedom, right? Freedom, basically, where it is freedom from compulsions, freedom from, yes, kind of. Uh, other pressures, external pressures, right? So I think we have to really look into it, what works the best for you, what makes you feel happy, comfortable, contented, right? Like Dr. Kavita said, that I always look up to opportunities where I can try my skills, or maybe I can actually learn new skills, right? And then time to time we need to keep enhancing our abilities, our skill set, our knowledge, so that we broaden, or we grow our area of talent. And then eventually, yes, we have to be a facilitator, a motivator, a mentor. Then only our need would be, yes, kind of more justified in the education sector. Next is, in spite of all the technical proficiencies, technical um, you know um kind of enablement, that where we are more knowledgeable, we've enhanced our skills, we are trying to learn new things every day, but still sometimes there is a lack, there is a disconnect, right? And things still do not move on in the right direction. Now where we would move from to that professional aspect to a little personal scenario. In fact, rather than saying it personal, I would say the self aspect, because we've been talking about being responsible, but primarily that also starts with being self responsible. We even talked about confident, but that also means that we have to be self confident. That means for our confidence, we should not be dependent on to somebody else. And when there is this gap, when this kind of dependence comes into the scene, where for our own confidence levels, for our own motivation levels, we start relying on to others, then these kind of different ego states develop, right? Ego, which we normally in a layman's language, we might be considering ego something like somebody who feels superior about himself or herself, or somebody who has high kind of uh, high attitude, right? Or maybe that attitude of being better than others, right? So maybe in a layman's language we consider that to be ego, but frankly there are this is a psychological aspect, which actually means your own state of mind, your own way of looking at things, or how we perceive, that is ego, right? And when I say ego state, that is basically your mental state, right? So now the first ego state, which is on the top left corner, which reads it like, I'm not okay, you are okay, right? And then there is even mentioned that this is a kind of a helpless situation. Now I need to really understand that this topmost top left corner ego state, which reads, I am not okay, you are okay, and it is considered to be a helpless situation. uh, what is the level of the confidence of the individual in this scenario, irrespective of their area of irresponsibility, their years of experience, their technical proficiency? What is the level of confidence of the individual in this ego state? I am not okay, you are okay. Low self confidence level. So true, ma'am. Definitely. Yes. And where does that person believe in himself or herself?
No, ma'am.
No,
No,
no.
exactly. Not at all, right? Where the person starts doubting himself or herself, his own capability, his own proficiency, his own expertise, right? Even if the management is telling them that yes, you are the one who can hold this responsibility, who can take up this task, I myself feel no, 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 I'm not the right person for it. Means I feel that yes, I am lacking some information, I'm lacking some skill set, so I myself am not confident about my own capability, right? So there is complete lack of self belief, right? Self reliance, and then because of which we as an individual we start feeling low in our self confidence levels, right? And this happens to us in irrespective of our years of experience, irrespective of our knowledge and expertise. This happens to us so many times that we feel that yes, there is some lack of confidence or lack of self belief. Next, when I come to the lower down, left lower down position, which says, I am not okay. This is what I knew from before. मुझे पहले से पता था कि मैं ठीक नहीं हूँ. I'm not capable. I'm not worthy. I'm not competent, right? I'm not okay, right? Or maybe I'm not the right person for this, job or for this area of responsibility. But now the situation is that even you're not capable, even you're not capable, you're competent, right? So even you are not okay. Now, what kind of situation is this? Can we give it a name? Where I feel that yes, neither am I capable, neither am I competent, neither I am good in anything, nor are you, right? Even you are not worthy of doing anything. So where there is, as it is, lack of self belief, and then I'm not even able to trust the capability of somebody else also. So what kind of a mindset is this, or what kind of a mental state is this? Is it optimistic? Is the person in this situation optimistic or hopeful? I'm not okay, I'm not capable, neither you are capable. Or so many times we say, यहाँ का कुछ नहीं हो सकता है, यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं बदल सकता है, right? Or yes, no progress can happen. It's absolutely negative, right? So the person in this kind of state of mind is absolutely negative, absolutely pessimistic, where he or she sees no scope of anything good happening. There is no hope only for anything, new to happen, right? So that's a completely pessimistic approach, right? So yeah, let's and then in fact people in this with this state of mind sometimes resort to something very, very wrong or disastrous. Can we think about it? People with this state of mind, where they don't see any hope of anything good happening, or where they're not able to, first and foremost, not able to trust themselves, neither are they able to trust the people around, they sometimes, end up into something very disastrous, something very damaging. Can we think about it? What is it? Yes, when I'm not able to see any hope of anything good happening, then I might feel absolute disconnect from this world. And then I might, lead to something really, really negative or really, really disastrous. What can it be?
Ma'am, it will be like they will also lack in progress, and they will also hamper the progress of others who are
True,
there to
true.
proceed. So the situation will be like everything
Yes.
will stop, and there will be no progress at all.
Exactly. So this is a very, very depressing state, right? In fact, many a times, we would ourselves, we would say that I'm going through a state of depression, right? I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling healthy. I'm not feeling, um, hopeful, right? I think when we talk about positivity, the highest level of positivity is being hopeful. But when people leave, hope that yes, there will be a hope for something good to happen, there will be a hope for, some change to happen, then that is the time when we actually, get into that very, very extreme negative state. And in fact, people in this hopeless situation, where they don't see anything good within themselves, neither they say good around the people, right? Then that is the situation where many times individuals will resort to something as extreme as like having those suicidal thoughts. I give it. I will not be able to do it further, right? So I give up, right? Or maybe now I feel that's the end to everything. So that is where, yes, we get into that extreme depressing state, which really needs to be ensured that we do not kind of, encounter like that. Then is the third bottom, the left bottom state, which says, I know you're not okay. I know you're not capable. I know, yes, you cannot do anything. But the only person capable around, or the only person knowledgeable around, is I, me, myself. Right? I'm the only one who needs to be heard. I'm the only one who needs to be, yes, taken up seriously. Rest, yes, nobody matters. Now, what kind of a mental state is this? I'm okay. I'm the only, yeah, that's overconfidence. And I think we must have dealt with so many people around us like that, having that overconfidence. Specifically, this level of overconfidence actually, becomes a more chronic problem with people who are more experienced or with people who are less experienced. It becomes a more chronic issue, having overconfidence, and maybe, yes, having that superiority complex, where I feel that I'm the only one who knows everything, or I'm the only one who needs to be taken up seriously. This, it is in both. Okay. uh, where does it prevail more?
More experience only, more
More
maximum.
experience, yes, exactly. And that is where we actually develop again a loophole or a major, a restriction on our own personal growth, where when the day we start feeling that yes, I'm the most learned one, I'm the most experienced one, there is a that is the time where we put a complete, kind of a restriction or a barrier to our personal growth. Then it is very, very difficult for any of us to actually learn anything new or to imbibe new knowledge or new ideas, because I have already closed my mind saying that yes, I'm the most learned one, right? So such kind of people are in fact more problematic, they're more difficult to kind of work along with, right? Because they are, as it is, they have that closed mindset where they are not willing to open up to new ideas, new information, and as it is, they themselves don't want to grow, so they don't even allow the growth of other people around. So such people are more damaging, more devastating, right? And specifically it happens amongst those people who are more experienced. So please see to it that with your experience, at least you should nowhere develop this approach where you start feeling that yes, now I don't need to learn anything new. In fact, the day we start saying that I don't need to learn anything new, we actually start stagnating in our growth. Yeah. And then lastly is the top right ego state or mental state, which says that yes, I know I'm competent, I know I'm capable, I know I can at least try doing new things. But the best part is that even you are capable, even you are competent, even you are worthy of doing something. So this reads as I am okay, and the best part is even you are okay. Now what kind of a state of mind is this? I'm okay, you are okay.
Balance.
Balance, exactly, balance. And it's a kind of a win-win situation, right? Where I believe in myself, I believe in my competency, my capabilities, and simultaneously I trust the other people around, right? So it becomes a kind of a healthy state of mind, right? Where I give that acceptance to people around. And the best thing is that this acceptance comes without terms and conditions. Now what can be those terms and conditions? So that's an optimistic approach. So true, Kavita ma'am. But then I said that we give an acceptance to people around, to their ideas, to their way of doing things, right? But then this acceptance comes without terms and conditions. What are those terms and conditions? Which we normally put into the scenario, and this is where we, complicate the whole situation. What can be those terms and uh, group learning? Okay. Kavita ma'am, could you elaborate this a little bit? What do you actually, signify when you say group learning?
Ma'am, it will be like in this kind of situation, what every one person knows will be there'll be no, like if I know something, I will not keep it with me. I will share it with the group, and I will make others also to acquire that skill and knowledge, so that everyone is getting the skills and knowledge, and they are developing together. So
Exactly.
that will
Wow.
be one important thing when we go in such an attitude of making
True.
everyone to know
True.
and learn things.
Exactly. Wonderful. So basically, we all are trying to come together, reach out to a common outcome, right? Or be together at least a common platform of learning and knowing things. And when I said yes, it is without terms and conditions. It is basically um, um, kind of a situation of acceptance where I'm not willing to change anybody else. I accept you the way you are. I accept you with your certain level of knowledge, and you need to accept me with my certain level of knowledge. And then we start sharing ideas, we start exchanging information, and then it actually becomes a win win situation where I enhance my area of knowledge with your information, and you grow out with my experience. That's how it actually becomes a win win situation. This is what is, we call it coordination, collaboration, right? And people coming together in real sense, right? Which actually does not happen majority of the times, because I'm always on this task or always on this mission of changing people around. Your way of doing things is different from mine. Your way of learning is different from mine. So you need to change. But the only person I'm not willing to change is I, me, myself. And this is the major blunder that we're doing in our lives, and in our all, in our professional scenario, in our personal lives. Because when we talk about growth, progress, performance, development, all starts with I, me, myself, or self, in fact. Right? So, first and foremost, I need to be responsible for my own, knowledge enhancement, my own, yes, kind of ability to enhance my skill set, right? If I am not changing, I can never expect anybody else to change. And this is where people go wrong. And this is why, in spite of everything going, all in place, with all facilities, all provisions, all standards laid down, all procedures set there, yes, people are not able to come together, teams are not able to get formulated. And then, because of which, the biggest of the high budget projects are also not able to reach out to their final outcomes. So let's start accepting each other. Let's start believing in the difference of ability, difference of, yes, knowledge and information of our people around. And definitely, if there has to be brought about some change, that change has to be initiated from self. Until unless we are not motivated to change, we can never inspire anybody else to change, or kind of enhance their ability to do something. I am done for the session for now. Anybody, any doubts, anything which was not clear, please, I'm open to the questions.